So let's talk about what is crowdfunding and what is equity crowdfunding, because there are different types of crowdfunding, and we're going to really talk about what is equity crowdfunding and how to use it. One of the key crowdfunding models to understand is equity crowdfunding. In this model, startups raise capital by offering investors an ownership stake in the company in exchange for a financial contribution. This allows entrepreneurs to tap into a wider pool of potential investors beyond the traditional venture capitalists or angel investors. Now, when I say contribution, I don't mean a nonprofit gift. I mean that they're buying shares of the company. Equity crowdfunding platforms like AngelList, Start Engine, and Republic enable startups to publicly advertise their investment opportunity and accept funds from both accredited and unaccredited investors. This can be really attractive for startups who are looking to raise larger sums of capital, but also you want to build a base of engaged shareholders. You want to navigate the legal and regulatory requirements around equity crowdfunding because there are some rules and disclosure obligations that have to be followed. Let's talk about Regulation CF, or Regulation Crowdfunding. That allows startups to raise $5 million a year from both accredited and unaccredited investors. Regulation A provides a mini IPO exemption for companies to raise $75 million a year. And Regulation D has unlimited fundraising from accredited investors without, reducing the disclosure requirements. Let's go in a little bit deeper about Regulation CF. Regulation CF, or Regulation Crowdfunding, is a securities exemption that allows startups and small businesses to raise up to $5 million a year from both accredited and non-accredited investors through approved crowdfunding platforms. This is going to be giving access to entrepreneurs to tap into a wider pool of investors while giving non-wealthy individuals the opportunity to invest in private companies. Regulation CF has specific disclosures and reporting requirements that startups have to follow. Then there's Regulation A, or Reg A. This is another securities exemption that allows companies to raise up to $75 million a year through a mini IPO process. This two-tier exemption, Regulation A plus Tier 1 and Tier 2, has a less stringent disclosure requirement than a full-blown IPO, making it a viable option for later stage startups and small public companies that are looking to raise growth capital. In other words, they're already started, but they want to get some growth capital. Regulation A offerings can be advertised publicly, and they're open to both accredited and non-accredited investors. Then there's Regulation D, or Reg D. This provides a set of exemptions that allow companies to raise an unlimited amount of capital from accredited investors without having to register with the SEC. The most common Reg D exemption rule, 506B, which permits private placements to an unlimited number of accredited investors and up to 35 non-accredited investors. Reg D offerings have more lenient disclosure requirements compared to the public offerings. So that's what equity crowdfunding is, and that's what startups a lot of times are using. We have a free crowdfunding checklist, and you can go to this URL. I made it a tiny URL so you can download and get the free checklist whenever you feel like it. Take a quick snapshot of that, go to that link, and you'll be able to get that. And there's all sorts of free crowdfunding classes I have in there. What are the benefits of crowdfunding for a startup? Well, the benefits for a startup are going to be access to capital, clearly, right? These platforms are going to allow you to raise the capital that might be harder if you were trying to do it with a bank or even venture capital. It also validates your ideas. Running a successful crowdfunding campaign can help your startup validate the product or the business idea by gauging real market interest and demand from backers. It is also about building a customer base. Crowdfunding campaigns enable startups to cultivate a base of supporters and customers who are interested in the success of a company, both financially and emotionally. Market testing is another great benefit. The crowdfunding process is going to allow startups to really test the viability of the product or service on a larger scale before they do a full fledged launch and spend the money on a full fledged launch. Publicity and exposure. A well executed crowdfunding campaign can generate significant media attention and awareness for a startup, helping to attract more investors, more customers, and more strategic partners. And then the reduced risk. Crowdfunding enables startups to raise capital investment as much as they need, right? Incrementally, as much as they need, and is reducing the financial risk compared to seeking a large sum of money from traditional investors. You're spreading the risk out over a lot of different people. Let's talk about executing a successful crowdfunding campaign. So, once you've laid the groundwork for your crowdfunding campaign and it's officially ready to launch, you're going to want to use platforms that are going to help really explain what you're doing. You have to use specific platforms that will help people buy their shares, sign all their paperwork, and do everything that needs to be done legally. So you want to make sure those platforms are really, really running well. You also, now a lot of times for equity crowdfunding, those platforms do not have marketing tools. So you need to develop your own marketing. You need to monitor campaign progress. You need to keep up to date with what's going on. One of the my favorite campaigns that I worked on was called Goldie Blocks. And what she did is she was creating a game where girls would get interested in engineering. She was an engineering major from Stanford, and she put in $100,000 of her own money. She raised $250,000, and she was able to just take this game to the next level. And her investors had enough money that they actually bought a Super Bowl commercial that year. And you know what? It was so great because I saw the Super Bowl commercial. It was just a quick 15 seconds that said Goldie Blocks. And I was like, Goldie Blocks, that's one of my projects. The rest of the room, my family, was silent. They were like, what are you yelling about? And they didn't get it at all. But I saw that. That was amazing. When you're selling shares of your company, you have people who are very, very excited about helping you get it out there. And the fact that they were able to spend money. Yeah, I don't know what the return was on that big commercial, but the fact that they had enough money made that they could spend it on a Super Bowl commercial, I thought was fascinating. So you want to look at backers, engaging your backers. You want to be messaging them. Usually this type of crowdfunding is not a 90-day program. This is something that you're probably going to do over a course of a year because you're raising anywhere from $5 million up to $75 million or maybe even more. And so you're going to spend some time just working on raising money. That's just the entire focus. You're going to be meeting people. You're going to be doing all kinds of things and fostering a sense of community between your investors, but also keeping people aware of what's going on. With equity crowdfunding, there's really not any rewards. The reward is that they own part of the company and they're able to share in what is going to happen with the company. Now, I've been teaching crowdfunding since 2010. I've been teaching it to entrepreneurs since 2010 because I knew back then money was going to be tight and money was going to be hard for business owners to get. And I thought crowdfunding is the way to do it. Equity crowdfunding is different from reward-based crowdfunding. That's the kind of crowdfunding you see on Kickstarter. And they're different. They have different rules and they have different ways of raising the money. So I don't suggest that everything you do with reward-based crowdfunding, you don't have to do the same exact thing with this type of crowdfunding. Many people are like, well, where do I put the video? Where's the video? Nobody's watching a video when they're making a decision to buy shares of a company. But what they do want is they do want reports. They do want what's going to happen with the company. They want information. Whereas reward based, a video really is helpful in keeping it going. So if you're thinking, where's the rewards and all that, we don't have rewards because they're buying shares of the company. That is their reward. As the company makes money, they will make money too. And the shares will become more valuable. So should they ever wish to sell the shares, they would be able to do so. It's a fascinating process. It's an amazing process, but it's really, really great to execute it. Again, if you're looking for that free crowdfunding checklist, just go right ahead to this URL and you can download it. You want to prepare. The biggest mistake that people make with crowdfunding is that they don't prepare. They really don't prepare. They text me on Wednesday and say, I'm going to crowdfund this Saturday. Any advice? And I say, yeah, don't do it. Because if you're trying to raise $100,000 and you're just starting on Saturday and you're just asking for advice on Wednesday, that means you haven't done any type of preparation. And these types of things, the more money you're going to raise, the more preparation it takes. It takes time to set up the accounts with the SEC so that you can sell those shares. That doesn't just happen in one day on a website. There's paperwork to fill out. There's agreements to fill out. There's things that have to happen, and it has to be approved before it moves forward. So just thinking you're going to throw it up there and see what happens, when you're at the equity crowdfunding stage, this is for people who are very serious about their money. They're not trying to raise $5,000 and they're just out there seeing what's going to happen. They're very serious about the business. They're very serious about moving forward, and they're filing legal papers. You're filing legal papers. So there's time and energy and preparation that needs to be with it. You need to prepare a marketing campaign. In other words, how are you going to get in front of the people who are going to invest? If that means investors, then you may have to hire someone who can get in front of those investors if you can't do it yourself. Even if you do it yourself, it may take some travel. You may have to go to meetings. You may have to go to pitch sessions. When you see people entering pitch sessions, they're usually in the state of raising money, and they're doing it, at contests where they can win money and all kinds of things. So this part of raising the money is very serious, and it's quite busy. So crowdfunding, startups, it is a journey of growth. The crowdfunding can be a powerful tool for startups to raise capital, to build a community, to validate their ideas, and understanding your target audience. You're going to craft a compelling campaign, engage your backers, and unlock the full potential of whatever type of crowdfunding you're going to do. So you'll want to know who your target market. If your target market is investors, that's going to be different than the target market than who you're selling to. Very different. And you want to make sure you get the free checklist. I'm here to answer questions. There are all kinds of things that you can do, but startups are doing something different in that they're not always looking for bank loans. They're looking for investors, and investors who want to share the risk. And that's what equity crowdfunding is. I'm Dr. Letitia Wright, and thank you for listening.
Have you ever had a bill so big it felt impossible to pay? Well, what if I told you there's a way to ask hundreds of people for help, and it actually works? It's called crowdfunding. And today, I'm going to show you how it helped me and how it can help you too. Today, I want to talk to you about something called crowdfunding. You might have heard that word before, but let me explain it super quick. Crowdfunding is when you ask a bunch of people like friends, family, or even strangers on the internet to each give a little bit of money to help you out. It's like when you and your friends all chip in to buy a pizza, but instead of pizza, you're asking for help with something more important. For me, I needed help paying a bill. Maybe you've had a big bill before, like for school, or maybe someone in your family got sick and there was a big medical bill. That's where crowdfunding can really help. You make a page online, tell your story, and people who care can donate a little bit. Even if first, I made a page and shared my story. I explained why I needed help and what the money would be used for. And you can do this too. If you ever have a big bill you can't pay, or if someone you care about needs help, crowdfunding is a way to ask for support from lots of people. So I launched my crowdfunding page, shared my story, and waited. Did the donations start pouring in right away, or did I hit a huge roadblock that almost made me give up? You won't believe what happened. Catch part 2 to find out if crowdfunding really saved the day or if I was.
Before we get started, I want to talk about a concept called now money and later money. When you have a list of tasks or action that are money makers, some will make money almost instantly, and some will take time for the money to come in. For the most part, if I am able to get someone on the phone and make the so-called sales call, I can close about 6 out of 10 of the people. If I cannot get them on the phone, I usually cannot make a sale. For me, a sales call is a money-making task. Calling someone back or making a follow-up call is a money-making task. And it's usually a money now task. I ask for the money. I say, so shall I send you the invoice and payment link now? Sometimes I even ask for the credit card number over the phone, getting the payment immediately. It's now money. If money is really tight, you have to focus on now money. These are the things that are the easiest to sell. Let's talk about later money for a moment. It's hard to measure exactly how much money can be attributed to a specific later money activity. Any money-making task that does not directly result in you receiving money is a later money task. That might beg the question, what's the point of later money tasks? Later money tasks are the drivers behind the success of your now money tasks. You should deliberately focus on later money tasks that create and foster relationships with your followers. For example, you'll need to spend time promoting your brand, creating valuable content, and sharing your business's values. It's these types of later money activities that result in an engaged audience when you perform your now money tasks. Later money tasks also include creating and developing new products and services. Remember how sending a promotional email about your new course is a now money activity? When you are still writing that course, you are doing a later money task. It's not paying off right now, but it will in the future. Anytime you are creating something new and awesome to give to your clients, for free or paid, you are performing a later money task. Now that you know the difference between now and later money, it's time to create your now money list. It is crucial you know your business' unique now money activities. Not only do these tasks increase your sales when performed regularly, but they are lifesavers if you are in a cash crunch. When you know which activities can immediately make you money, you can rely on one or more of them to quickly bring in immediate cash. Here are some now money activities. Making an offer on your Facebook page and in your group. Promoting an affiliate offer on Twitter. Making a direct offer to those who email you questions, post in your groups. Pre-selling your next course with a no-brainer discount. Reworking your profit systems and calls to action in your email funnels. Changing the offer in your Facebook page header. Pitching a client. Following up with prospects who didn't hire you. Following up with past clients with additional offers, sharing an older blog post with a great call to action, going live in your Facebook group with an offer, launching a new product, including a direct link to your sales page at the bottom of a blog post, emailing your list a promotional or limited time offer, setting up your email autoresponder with a promotional offer to new subscribers. Here is your homework. Make a list of money, now tasks you will do, and how often you will do them. There is no right or wrong answer. It's just about telling the truth about what you will do. What is enough? You will have to test and see. If you are not doing enough activity to make the money you want to make, you will have to do more. It's that simple. The more sales you do, the better you get at sales. If you have some training, that is wonderful. If you do not, then this will be your training. Your show is a business. A business without sales is dead. It's time to push the button and get to work. You can share your list in the chat. Others may be inspired by what you do and try it for themselves. We are all a tribe here just trying to make it. We can make it together.
Running your $5,000 crowd fund raise. You're going to be raising $5,000 in the next 30 to 60 days. And I'm going to show you how to set up a successful crowdfunding campaign. With this particular strategy, it works for $5,000 for you to raise it over and over again. So I'm going to explain it all to you and break it all down. So first, we're going to set our goal. Our goal for this crowdfunding project is always going to be $5,000. Even if you do it over and over again, make your goal $5,000 in the next 30 to 60 days. So this is something that you can do again and again. You don't have to do it one time and go, that's it. You can crowdfund as many times as you want. And I highly recommend, as I'm putting this out in March, that you do this 2 or 3 more times this year, moving with higher and higher goals, because you will grow your tribe and you'll be able to get there much faster. The cost involved with doing this kind of raise is less than $100. Now, there are going to be fees for processing your money. In other words, when you take money, you're going to be using PayPal, or you're going to use Square or Stripe or some other payment method, Venmo, whatever. They take a little bit of the money. So if you raised $100, you wouldn't get $100 because they're going to take their piece of it. What you're not going to do is, you don't need to go to GoFundMe or any crowdfunding website to do this particular strategy. So you will save money there. They charge anywhere from 5 to 19% when they help you, quote unquote, crowdfund. Even those sites that say they crowdfund for free, they get their money on the back end. So you have to remember, raising the amount of money, it does cost a little bit, but not a lot. Who's your target audience? Now, for this type of crowdfunding, your target audience is going to be your Facebook connections. That's right. We're going to work off of the people you know on Facebook. Anybody who has friended you on Facebook, meaning that you can DM them or you can tag them, they are the target market. So for some of you, it's a couple of hundred people. For some of you, it's thousands of people. But those are the people that you're going to go to because they kind of know you. There'll be a much warmer market, and it'll be easier for you to work with. Interest mapping. As one of your connections, you're going to assume that they have some interest in you. Okay? Not everybody will have an interest in what you're doing, but you are the interest that you're trying to map. They're connected to you. And your engagement strategy is that you're going to be connecting with them on Facebook only. So you're going to use DMs and tagging them in posts to connect. You don't need to text, and you don't need to email anybody. So if you don't have a text system, that's fine. If you don't know how to email or don't have everybody on an email, it's fine, because a lot of the people you have on Facebook, you're connected to them, but you don't have their personal emails. Now, what are you offering? Now, again, this crowdfunding class is for people who have businesses or non-profits. If you're trying to crowdfund for a personal reason, what I'm going to share with you is not going to help you, but I'm going to go forward with this for people, assuming everybody is here on business. So you're going to be offering your products or your services, 3 versions of them, and the price will be $25, $50, and $99. Okay? $25, $50, $99. These are prices that I've proven that work over and over again. So please stay within these parameters. Let's talk about why $99 and not $100. So I wanted you to understand the psychology behind it. That's why I put it here for you. Setting the price at $99 instead of $100 can significantly influence your consumer behavior and give you sales due to the psychological pricing strategy known as charm pricing. There's several reasons why this charm pricing is beneficial. Number one, the psychological impact. The left digit impact in pricing suggests that consumers perceive the price to be significantly lower than if they are the left when it changes, okay, even by $1. The product of a price at $99 is perceived to be in the 90s range rather than the 100 range, which can be a substantial psychological difference in perception of the price's magnitude. You're going to increase sales due to the perceived lower cost. They're more likely to spend on a product that's $99 than one that's $100, and it can lead to higher sales volumes offsetting the lower margin per unit with an increase overall. Consumer perception. Pricing a product at $99 can create the perception of a bargain. Now, we're not trying to give them a super discount, but it'll create the perception of a bargain or good deal, which can attract price sensitive shoppers. I hope that not all of your shoppers are price sensitive. I hope that some of your shoppers have money, but for those who are, this will bring them in. And marketing positioning. By pricing products just under the round number, businesses can position their product as more affordable without significantly reducing the price. The strategy can be particularly effective in competitive markets where the small price difference can influence consumer choice. And threshold budget. Some of your consumers have set thresholds and might have a mental cutoff at $100, meaning they live their life by, hey, they're going to spend this much money on other things that are outside their budget, and they don't deviate from that. So pricing it at $99 can make it accessible to these consumers. You're also going to have increased attention because prices that end in 9 are more likely to stand out to consumers as they're commonly associated with discounts and deals. And they can increase the likelihood of a product being noticed and considered by the shoppers. Let's talk about retail standards. It's a common practice to retail something that ends in .99 or .95. So the consumers also expect it. It's aligning with a norm that can help ensure that the product price is in line with the consumer expectations and doesn't really stand out as particularly high. You have improved conversion rates, especially in e-commerce and retail, and conversion rates are critical. You don't want them to just click on the link and go, oh, never mind. You want them to click on the link and buy. So that's really, really important that you do that. It's important to note that the effectiveness of charm pricing can vary based on context, such as the type of product, the target market, and the overall pricing strategy of your company. It's essential to maintain transparency and trust with customers, ensuring that the product value justifies the price regardless of the psychological pricing employed. That's why we go 99 instead of 100. Now, what are you going to offer? You're going to offer 3 things. You're going to pick 3 things, and they're going to have value in them. You do not have to discount something. If you offer something that's $2,000, I don't want you to put that on here for $100. I want you to take something out of that offer and offer that. Describe each product and service in detail. And then you're going to have a clear call to action. Each product have a price and a separate link to purchase. So you're going to set these up on PayPal, Square, Stripe, Venmo, however you take payments. You need to set up payment links for the amounts that you're going to be taking in. Not one payment link where they can do it, like different payment links so that you can push what seems to be working the best. In other words, if you find out, instead of having a payment link that goes to something that lets them choose, if you find out after a week or two that most people are buying the $50 payment, then just push the $50 payment. Crafting your pitch posts. Okay, that's going to be in our next video. This is part 2 of raising $5,000 in 30 to 60 days. So we're going to be talking about what exactly you're going to post on Facebook. So you're going to craft your little pitches and you're going to talk about what you're doing and that you have 3 things for sale and you're growing your business, and you're going to be just talking about things in a very pleasant way. So you want some engaging visuals. You want to do some compelling storytelling. You don't want to talk about you're doing bad and you're about to close up. You want to talk about how your business is growing and you're raising money with these offerings. And you do not need to use the word crowdfunding. And here's why you may not want to use the word crowdfunding, because people are going to say, what is crowdfunding? And then you have to spend time explaining what crowdfunding is. You don't want to spend time explaining what crowdfunding is. You want to spend time talking about what you're offering and asking them to give you the money. If you only have 5 minutes with the person, you don't want to spend 5 minutes explaining crowdfunding. You want to spend 5 minutes talking about what you're doing, how fantastic it is, and how they want to be a part of it by buying one of these 3 offerings that you have. You do not want to put these offerings up at a discount. In other words, if you're giving them something that's worth $50 and you're saying, hey, now it's on sale for $25, that's not enough to get you what you want. People are not necessarily looking for a sale, they're looking for a meaningful purchase and they want it to help you. So don't super discount anything. And remember, you've got to pay your processing fees, so you're not getting that whole amount anyway. Tell a good story, but not a sob story. And then every call to action is always buying one of the three things. I talked earlier in the last post, make sure you have three different links for three different prices, not one link that goes to three prices, because you just want people to just boom, get it and not have to think about it, not sit, make a choice, and think through things. Now, what do you do when someone buys something from you? Well, you're going to do what we call purchase updates. You're going to post on your Facebook account. You're going to create this little graphic. This is a sample of what I did for Thanksgiving back when Facebook had square pictures. And so I just made a frame. I put the person's picture in there, their name, and then a thank you for getting this was a gift to a nonprofit. So thank you for the gift and a nice little frame. So you're going to create a graphic where you can pop people's pictures in and out. And all you have to do is change their name. And you're going to post that. You're going to tag them and you're going to thank you. You're going to respond to all comments, messages, and inquiries. That's why you have to get on every single day and at some time answer people's questions, and you're going to repost. So say this person bought the first day, you can repost this day 3, day 5, day 10, day 15, over and over. Over the time, you will have many, many more of these. And so the person who first buys, they'll probably be in rotation the most, but you'll have more. This causes FOMO. This brings alerts that to other people that they should buy it. It brings confirmation. It just works really, really well. This is a very important step. Do not overlook this. Here's what I don't want you to do. Don't post your goals. Don't talk about I'm trying to raise $5,000. Just say I'm raising money to grow my business, or I'm raising money to hire someone in my business, or something like that. Don't leave people in the dark. Let them know when their delivery of the product or service will come. For some of you, the product hasn't been created yet. So after you get the money, you're going to create the product and then you're going to send it to them. So maybe delivery is not till September or October or November. Let them know when the delivery date is and everything will be okay. If you have delays, you always want to communicate. Always communicate and tell them what the delays are. Remember, these people are on your side. These are not haters. They're on your side, but you have to talk to them. And don't make it complicated. Just put some simple links in and send people to the exact place to purchase. Don't send them to a website to get on an email list. Don't do any of that stuff. Just do something simple. So how do we prepare? This only takes about a week or two at the most to prepare. You want to be ready to work on it every day. So schedule some time in your schedule that every day for 30 days, you're going to go into Facebook and you're going to work on it. Get your call to action together. In other words, create the payment links ahead of time so that you have them. Also figure out what 3 products you're going to offer and what 3 prices they're going to be at. Figure that out now and get that all together. What's the day-to-day work like? What are you going to be doing every day? Well, every day you're going to spend at least an hour or two getting in there, making sure you post, maybe even scheduling posts. Say you can't get online until 5 p.m. or after work. You want to schedule some posts during the day and some posts during the night so that people can see them. You're going to be creating your content. You're going to creating your posts, thanking people, doing that. You're going to engage influencers, answer questions, engage people, talk to people about what you're doing. Tag them in your posts and give feedback. So it's going to take you an hour or two every day. Schedule that time. You're going to be thanking people. You're going to be expressing gratitude. Reward fulfillment is when they get their stuff that they paid for. Make sure you're always talking about that. And so the dates are very, very clear. Also, you can create a list from the people who purchase to use for your next crowdfunding campaign. So that's why I like doing this, because I have all of the information and now I can move forward with them. And basically, you just set a time to start, you set a time to end, you celebrate the start, you celebrate the end, and you thank everybody for participating. This is part 2. Hi, I'm Dr. Letitia Wright, and welcome to Crowdfunding for Women in Business. This is really my presentation to introduce you to how crowdfunding can help you fund your business. As a businesswoman, we know that it's tough and the situations are very different. And I work with people really throughout the world on crowdfunding. I'll get into that a little bit later, but I'm really happy to be here and to share it with you. So join us as we explore the exciting world of crowdfunding and its role in supporting women entrepreneurs in business. I'm going to guide you through the benefits and the potential challenges that we have with crowdfunding. So, what exactly is crowdfunding? Crowdfunding is a way of raising capital or raising cash through the collective effort of individuals. Now, this is a fundraising technique. So, this is a financial technique that's conducted usually over the internet. And there are various types of crowdfunding campaigns, and there are many, many crowdfunding websites. Now, the cool thing about American crowdfunding websites is that people from other countries can actually use the websites. As long as you can take the payment through there, or you start an American bank account or a way to take payment, you can use an American crowdfunding site even if you are not an American. And it's so interesting. I taught this once in Australia, and one woman stood up and said, "I don't believe you." And I was like, "Okay, cool, but I'm the teacher and you're the student, so you can believe whatever you'd like to believe. Meanwhile, other people are going to make money." Um, so, crowdfunding is a way to get this capital with a lot of different individuals giving you different amounts. So, grandma can give you $10, and some investor can hand you $10,000. People get to choose their own adventure, they get to choose the amount of money that they want to give you. So, the three types of crowdfunding, and we're really going to talk about two here, are reward based crowdfunding or pre sale, what I call pre sale. And this is where people are giving you money in exchange for a product or service. But usually there's a little bit of a delay. So you're raising the money now, but you are going to get the product or service a little bit down the line. So it is a pre sale. Then there's also equity crowdfunding, where investors are taking an equity stake in your company in exchange for an investment. So, unlike a loan, there's no monthly payment. But as your company grows and begins to have a lot of income and revenue, they're going to take part in the positive income and revenue. And so you need to know that. There's also donation based crowdfunding, which is just nonprofit uh, crowdfunding, nonprofit crowdfunding. You need to be a nonprofit for this to work. It's not just that your business hasn't made a profit yet. You need to be a nonprofit entity registered in your country or registered in America as a nonprofit, and then you can raise the money. It's considered a donation. It is not considered a donation in any other way. It's just a gift. In America, donations are tax deductible, but I know in other countries that is not the same thing. So you've got to check in your country what's the dealio? What's going on there? Okay, why should you listen to me, right? Okay, so a little bit of introduction to me. I'm a successful author, entrepreneur, and crowdfunding expert. I've been teaching crowdfunding to businesses since 2010. And I've helped businesses raise millions of dollars. And I've appeared on TV, events, everything. I also teach at an international business school that moves around. So I've taught around the world. I've taught in Holland, I've taught in Australia, Thailand, Canada, I've taught in Grand Cayman. I've taught just around the world teaching about crowdfunding for business owners and how to make it work. And I've been doing this for quite some time. Um, and I'm supported by Forbes and Forbes Black and just all these other different organizations. I've been around. I've been in the game for a long time, as they say. The benefits for crowdfunding for women are this. My dogs even love crowdfunding. You can get increased access to capital. Okay. In other words, you can use crowdfunding along with a business loan, along with investment. I mean, you can use crowdfunding along with anything else that you are doing to raise money. If you're bootstrapping, you can also crowdfund. If you're getting a loan, you can also crowdfund. It's great marketing opportunities because when you start to share with people that you are crowdfunding, that gives you attention to your business. It gives you attention to what you're doing. It gives you attention to you as a business person. You become very interesting to media. They want to do interviews with you. And it's not just a sales commercial. It's an opportunity for you to really be introduced to the audience watching you. It's an opportunity for you to get media coverage on your business about something that's very interesting to them. And they don't feel like it's just such a hard marketing thing. Sometimes people will send media information about what their business is doing, and it's simply just a commercial. Well, they have commercials that they can pay for. But when you're crowdfunding, now there's something to talk about. They want to hear the story of how you began your business. They want to hear the story of who else are your partners, the hardships, all of that. So the marketing opportunities are really great that come with crowdfunding because people are just very interested in it. It also gets a chance for you to build your community. What does that mean? That means that you can begin to bring all of the people that have supported you that are scattered all over the internet. Now you can bring them to your, what I like to call your barn. In other words, get them on your email list, get them into your private groups, get them where you can speak to them. And you don't have to depend on social media to get to them. And you don't have to depend on this and that person. You have a direct contact to them. So that means that you have their email and or their mobile number so that you can text them. Text messaging is very strong. Email is still very strong. So you want to build your community. And crowdfunding is a great way to build your community and continue with all of that. It also validates your product or service. And here's what I mean by that. It is a great opportunity for you to make sure there's really a market for what you're trying to build or what you're trying to create. Here's what I mean. In other words, if you have a widget and you got your little secret formula going on, right? This is just window cleaner I have at my desk because I'm obsessed about keeping everything clean. And so here's the product, and you want to make this product on a mass scale. And so you're going to pre-sell it, which is the pre-sale. You're going to sell it to people and then make your batches and then send it out to them. So it'll take a little while before they actually get it. Now, as you begin to market, say you think this is a really great product for men who work on engines and they get their hands really dirty, and you think the product would be great for them to use on their hands. And it turns out men who work on engines are just not interested in the product. What do? Well, now you get a chance to validate this and say, okay, the target market I thought would eat this up and love this does not love it. Let's go find who loves it. You haven't spent all of your money making this product and trying to sell it to people that have no interest in it. Okay? You have been able to really get a chance to see, those people are not going to buy it. Let me market to someone else. It's a great opportunity to validate. That's what I mean by that. before you spend the money, before you do all the branding, before you set everything up, before you've hired all the people, know for sure you've got a market. Sell it first. Okay, so what challenges do women face with traditional funding? Well, there's gender bias. Many people still think women are just not that good at it. It wasn't until the 70s that women in America could even get a credit card without their dad or their husband signing for them. Women have less access to mentorship and support networks. There just isn't as much out there as there are for men. They lack access to financial education resources. A lot of women are not getting the same information that men are getting. And then there's just some systematic barriers. So crowdfunding has helped overcome that so that you can really move forward into your path in crowdfunding and bringing money into your business. And the other secret about crowdfunding is that you can do it over and over again. And you can do the different kinds of crowdfunding. It's not like one and then you can't do it anymore. You can do it many, many times. So here's a few success stories. There are many success stories. These are just a few. Mickey thinks she did a $1 million Kickstarter because she created period panties. Panties for when you're on your cycle. Michelle Cordero Grant, she created Lively, which is comfortable bras. And Tracy Solomon created Tossed. It's a food chain. And she was able to do that. That was an equity crowdfunding. There are so many women who have been successful in crowdfunding, whether they're crowdfunding $5,000 or $5 million. There are many, 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 many stories. If I just told crowdfunding stories, we wouldn't have time for anything else, any real education. I want to talk to you about the difference between regulation crowdfunding and pre-sale crowdfunding, okay? Regulation crowdfunding are the two types that we're talking about here. And regulation crowdfunding is a type of equity crowdfunding. In other words, someone will be buying shares of your company. Here in America, they just created regulation crowdfunding where you can raise $5 million every 12 months. So that means if you started raising money in November 2023 and you raised $5 million, next November you could raise another $5 million. You could continue on this same project. So right here it says $1 million. This has been updated to $5 million. Investors contribute for equity. They're going to own shares of the company. They own part of the company. They don't own so much that they can tell you what to do or make all of the calls, but they do own a piece of the company. And it is regulated by securities here in America. The SEC regulates all of this. They have to go by the rules. It's not free crowdfunding. You have to file paperwork. You're going to spend between $8,000 and $10,000 just on your legal paperwork for this type of crowdfunding. So this is not something that you start for free. However, it is very, very, very lucrative. Pre-sale crowdfunding is where we're actually selling the product. We talked about this. Selling the product before we make it. Selling the product before we make it. This goes for books. Those of you who are authors can sell your book before you write it. So you want to get paid to write? Crowdfund your book. You will have made sure that there's a market for it. You will have made sure you have an audience for it, and you begin to build a brand that's incredibly lucrative. Because even if you only sell 100 books the first time, the next book in that series, I'm giving you juicy stuff here. The next book in that series, you've got those 100 people, plus you're going to gather some more. So by the time you get to book number 10 or 11 or whatever you're doing, as an author, you will have a huge tribe and you will have been paid for every single book that you wrote. And when you start to gather a huge tribe, publishers will come to you. You won't have to get an agent and, take my book, somebody take my book. Like, you won't have to do any of that. You will be able to get what you need. You ship the product at a future date. Everybody knows what's going on. It's not some kind of weird scam. Everybody knows they're going to get the product at a future date. But you have all the money you need to get the product made, get it shipped, and it's a beautiful thing. So here's some strategies for a successful crowdfunding campaign. And this is the big one that people miss all the time. This is what crashes and burns you. Build an engaged community before you start crowdfunding. Yeah, that's right. The crowd, you got to bring the crowd to this party. It's not like you go and find the crowd. You got to go get the crowd, then say, hey, you guys, look, this is what I have for you. And that is where everybody misses the boat. They start crowdfunding looking for a crowd. You've got to have a crowd. You've got to borrow a crowd. If your friend has a 10,000 person email list and they talk to the same people that you want to talk to, ask them to let you talk to their tribe about your crowdfunding project, because that is important. You also want to create a video. Almost everybody misses this too, because you want to create an interesting video. Most people make it too long. Your video should be 2.5 minutes. It should be clear and concise. It can be entertaining if you want it to be entertaining. Some of my favorite crowdfunding videos are very entertaining, and no, I won't be showing them here, but you've got to have a good video. This is not the time to have your nephew create a video. I had someone tell me she wants to raise $1 million, and she's going to have her 14-year-old grandson make the video. I just want to tell you, the more money you want to raise, the more professional you have to be. The more money you want to raise, the more professional you have to be. If you're raising $5,000, people will forgive you for a little janky or a little, kind of junky looking video. But if you're talking about you want to raise $1 million and it's blurry and shaky and the audio's messed up, people are just like not going to believe you. And when it says set realistic goals, here's what I mean by realistic. Set the goal that will cover your expenses. Sometimes people are raising money and they're not raising enough to cover the expenses. If you need $10,000 to do this, make your goal $10,000 or more, because you have expenses, and all of the money you raise, some of that money will be taken up by the website you're using. Even if they say it's free, they still take their little cut. So your goal should be $11,000 or more, so that you can have that $10,000 you need. That's what I mean by realistic. I don't mean like, girl, you can't raise that. You can only raise this much. I don't mean that. I mean, cover your expenses. I hope that's really, really clear to everybody. If you want to build a community, you've got to target your audience. Your crowdfunding can't be for everybody. Your campaign can't be for everybody. You want to offer some really great rewards, things that they want. Don't offer a rubber band around the wrist that nobody wants. Don't offer, stuff that nobody wants. Okay, your tribe likes t-shirts, great. My tribe is not into t-shirts like that. I'm probably never going to have a whole bunch of mass t-shirts available because they're not going to wear it. So be engaged with your tribe and give them something that they like, and talk to your tribe often. If you have some sort of delay, if some sort of problem is coming up, make sure your tribe knows they're on your side. They're not going to get on you about something not working out. They're going to really just try to help you and be patient and just try to understand what's going on. As long as they understand what's going on, you won't have a problem. When you don't communicate, that's when they begin to wonder, oh, was this a scam? Oh, what did you do? Blah, blah, blah. So here's the conclusions. Crowdfunding is a powerful tool for women entrepreneurs to raise capital or money and overcome the traditional funding barriers. And there's different types of crowdfunding and implementing best practices and strategies. Your campaign has a higher chance of a success, but when you know all of this, you want to build a strong, engaged community, and you want to be transparent in your communication. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that has opened your mind to what's possible and how much you can raise. to get your business off the ground. Your business must solve a problem. As long as you're solving someone's problem, people will pay you for that product or that service. So make sure your business is solving a problem, and make sure that you are communicating that you can solve that problem very, very clearly. Don't make it an inference. Don't make it anything like that. This presentation is available. You can email me at drletitia@rightplacetv.com. Again, drletitia@rightplacetv.com. And it's right here. I will send that to you. And you'll be a part of the email list, so you'll learn more about what I do in terms of crowdfunding and helping women raise capital, and how crowdfunding can work for you. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed this topic, and I enjoy talking about it always. And you are a powerful part of your community, of your country. By being a successful businesswoman, you are able to change the world, because now not only can you take care of you and your family, you could make changes in the world around you. So thank you so much for joining me. Again, I'm Dr. Letitia Wright, and let's fly.